Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. It'll be a quick one because I have a very busy week ahead of me and I'm forced to make these videos because if I don't, I get punished by the YouTube algorithm. Or so I'm told. Anyway, today's topic is really interesting because today's video is a little bit interesting. It's a topic that I'm quite passionate about these days. And nowadays, when you search online, you go to a bookstore or whatever, you look for what to play over a 251, for instance, licks and whatnot. You get shown formulas, scales, arpeggios. Those things are great, and you get shown vocabulary. Those things, in my opinion, are better. But often the vocabulary will tend to be something like like a long line like that, super bebop, which those are really wonderful. And by the way, if you want to learn how to construct your own beautiful bebop licks, you should check out my course on Sound Slice. It's called Bebop Vocabulary. I show you not only licks, but how to construct them and where they come from. And I think a lot of the licks that I show are really in the style and really melodic. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe some of you will disagree with me, but a lot of people who write books on jazz guitar licks, it kind of seems to me like they're on a laptop and they're constructing phrases by like applying formulas. Whereas when I'm constructing these phrases, I'm using my ears a lot and also referencing the beautiful lines of the old jazz masters. So it's less about formulas, but about understanding the beautiful melodic cells that the old jazz masters, well, old and current jazz masters use today. Instead of, like, here's a lick over G7, which is really just a scale. It's what they call the bebop scale. So they tell you to practice the bebop scale up and down. But would you rather hear that or this? That last phrase was quite diatonic, but it has these twists and turns that are very typical, in my opinion anyway, of bebop vocabulary. So anyway, check that course out if you want. Support me, please. Thank you. I need this. They've got a gun to my head. But really, if you can like, subscribe, share, comment, buy something on DC Musical, it all helps. Okay, let's move on. So you get shown all these cool licks, all these cool arpeggios and scales, which are definitely worth investigating, but very rarely do people out there talk about playing quote unquote melodically. I talk a lot about this in a lot of my recent videos. And that's what I was demonstrating at the beginning of this video. All the melodies that I played in the beginning, they came from songs. Can you guess which ones? You win a prize if you do. The prize is a free smile. And what I want to talk about is less about those phrases than about the idea of constructing lines based off of quote unquote singable melodies like that. Relatable melodies. Which I personally think a lot of the best jazz musicians are really good at. They can do the fancy bebop lines or advanced like playing out and all that stuff, but every now and then they can come back to playing this soulful melodic in this soulful and melodic way. And this is a little bit of a lost art these days, if I may dare say so, but this is something a lot of my favorite players are really good at. And my favorite players tend to be the players from the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Maybe I'm an old soul at heart, who knows? And how do you get good at this? Well, I think it's actually pretty simple. You listen to a lot of music, but you listen to it very attentively. You try to, when you hear something that's beautiful, that you think is beautiful, is worth playing, doesn't matter what style, it doesn't have to be jazz. You grab your instrument and see if you can figure out what those notes are. You then figure out how those notes relate to the chord. By the way, I'm writing a book right now that talks about this. It's not released yet, so I don't know if you're watching this in the future. Maybe it will be released. You should follow my Instagram or something to keep track. I usually will announce it in future videos once it's released, so just please follow me. So yeah, you learn the melodies and then you learn the chords and see how they relate to each other. And that's something I've been doing for a very, very long time. So sometimes people also email me telling me they're in a rut. They don't know what to practice. They feel they're not progressing. Well, I feel I'm never ever going to be in a rut. That's a video I can talk about. But the reason why I can never ever be in a rut, because I've trained myself to learn to listen to music in a way, in such a way that when I listen to music, I'm not just listening for the fun of it, but I'm also absorbing language. And that's something I developed fairly early on. And it's something that I would suggest that anyone serious about music learn to do. The more you can train yourself to listen to music in this way, the easier it will be for you to just pick things up by ear and then be able to use them in the moment, because it's not enough to just figure out the notes. As I said, you have to understand how those notes relate to the context, and that is, as an improviser, is what will allow you to apply them to actual music. So what I did here was play ending phrases to a lot of standards over a 2-5-1, and it's not, I selected 2-5-1 because it's the most standard chord progression, but if you learn the entire melody to a song, there's a wealth of information in there. You know, just like a song like Stella by Starlight. It's beautiful, but you know, you have these chords where you might be tempted to think, oh, I should play something based off of this, you know, like. And then I have this, I should do something. And then you have this. But really, it's just. Simple, but it works, and it's so beautiful. And being able to improvise this way is something that I really try hard to be able to do. And it's something you learn to do. It's less about memorizing licks and patterns, but about getting your ears to hear something worth playing. And the only way you can achieve this is by oversaturating your mind with lots of beautiful melodies, so much that you start to hear them in your head. And then to be able to access them, you have to do what I told you. You have to figure them out on your instrument, and then you have to figure out how they relate to the context. That means the chords. So this, it's over this. It's over this. Right? Any melody. And something like isn't that beautiful? Just that. It doesn't have to be like, all right, this. All that stuff is cool, but this is great too. And not many people are working on this because it's something that's very, very difficult to work on. It's not like, oh, I'm going to practice this scale like this, I'm going to practice these sequences. No, you have to listen to so much music, and it just has to be in you. You have to feel the music. You got to feel the music. I'm actually really excited to be releasing this book that I told you about, because it tells you how to listen. It teaches you how to listen to music, how to, as far as the guitar is concerned. But anyway, just stay tuned. And one thing I want to say is you'll find the transcriptions to all these phrases that I played in the beginning video on SoundSlice. Look at the link in the description box, not the pinned comment rather. But as far as fingering choices are concerned, I'm actually doing this by ear. They're not worked out fingerings. For instance, when I did this one, I could easily do it here too. Or maybe another finger. And I'm able to do this because I hear it so well in my ears And also because I'm very familiar with how these notes are relating to. So one thing you can do is, sorry, or the other one that I did. Notice a lot of these phrases have this note on it, on the B flat 7. It's a very beautiful sound. And when I hear this sound, I'm not thinking, oh, that's a 13. I could just grab my instrument right away and just reproduce it. And in my mind, I'm not thinking anything. I just know it's this note because I've heard this so many times and I've played it so many times. Then later on, after the fact, I can say, oh, that's the 13th. And that's what I hope most students of music, of improvisation, can achieve at one point. And I'm not saying that I'm good at it. Not like, I think I'm decent at it, but there are people who are way better than me at it. But that's the thing. I'm never gonna be in a rut because it's an endless ladder. You can only get better. If you think you got good, pretty good, you can still get better. And it's the same for me. So one way, like I said, you can practice this is by harmonizing the notes. So and one way I got pretty good at harmony is by doing this kind of thing. Like I'm harmonizing each and every note and trying different chord combinations. So I did this. What if I did? It works. Or just to be like funky. Oh! So there we go. Learn a lot of melodies, learn a lot of standards, learn anything that's beautiful and try to absorb it. Have it be part of your vocabulary, have it inside your head. Before even thinking, oh, it's a Dorian, it's a Mixolydian, it's that. Just have it so much in your head that you can access it with your fingers. And actually, a lot of these jazz standards, the melodies to a lot of jazz standards, I don't know how to play them in the sense that I don't have a set fingering to them. I always try to do them by ear because I've heard the melodies so many times that I can just on the spot figure out where to play them. Some songs better than others. I'll admit that. And that means that there are certain songs where if I'm not as good on a certain song, that means there's more work to be done. And I'm talking about songs that have like slow melody. I'm not talking about like Donna Lee. Although, or see, I didn't prepare this, but even with Donna Lee, I can change the fingerings a little bit. Aha, actually, not bad. Anyway, yes, that's what I mean. You want to have the music here, and then you want to be able to translate it as fast as possible here. And that's when you can call yourself a half-decent musician as opposed to a good guitar player. I think I'd rather be a decent musician than a good guitar player. I mean, it would be great to be a good musician and a good guitar player, but if I had to choose, I'd choose that. What do you guys think? Oh yeah, I also included one final thing, which is a bluesy lick. And just to show that when you're learning to improvise over changes, which is a very important skill to acquire, there is this whole other idea of learning to not play the changes. But you do this in an organized way, and it comes with experience, learning to play the blues over common chord progressions. And I've talked about this in previous videos, so just watch them. There we go. That was today's video. Thank you. Leave a comment. buy my books. Thank you. Bye.